I was thinking about the definition of power, and the definition of power is the ability to control another person's life over your own actions. And depending on how much power you have is how much more of an effect on someone else's life that you do have. And I was thinking about it and I was like, okay, well, what about influence? And to me, influence is the indirect power that you have due to the nature of the actions that you yourself as an individual take. So if we take Alex Hormozy, for example, he doesn't affect me personally in terms of he has power over my life. He doesn't tell me what to do and I do it. But he does have influence. And to me, what that means is indirectly, through making his content, through teaching the frameworks, and through doing a business and running his business in the nature of which he is doing so, it projects influence on me on how I do everything. Currently, I'm working on one of the biggest events of my entire life, and it's a world record breaking event, and I'm 18 years old. It is difficult. This has never been done before. So, I take a lot of influence from Alex. Now, I don't have any power, or Alex doesn't have any power over me until he makes that ask directly of me. But the influence in which he has deeply affects me because of the fact that the power he has over me would be to buy his stuff. I do not have money. I'm a college student, so I can't buy his stuff. But what I can do is I can take the frameworks and everything that Alex and Layla and Sharon post on social media and take those frameworks, take those strategies into what I do with the event, into what happens. And so one of the hardest things I'm needing to do now is how do I project influence from myself to other people? And not in a way where it's like, oh, listen to me, do what I say, and like follow exactly what I do, but how do I influence my team in order to become more self-sufficient, in order to want to be a better team, in order to want to do more. And it is a hard task to do because most people aren't that self-sufficient. And so the difference between the power and the influence is that I cannot make direct asks of them for everything that they do. However, I need to make an influence so that way their decisions will be aligned with the values of the organization in which I had to create in order for this event to work. And while I can set rules, the amount of influence I have needs to be directly tied to how much power I have over someone in the nature of which I do things. And so if I tell my people, hey, you guys aren't allowed to go party, go drink, do drugs, anything like that, which we are putting rules together, and like that very possibly is a rule. Again, college, so it's a little hard, but that would mean that I am not allowed to drink, to do drugs, any of that. I never planned to, but the point of the matter is that in order to become a key man of influence within this organization, as me and my leadership team are organizing this, now we have to look at how do we follow the rules so well that it feels uncomfortable to go against the rules as you're working with us. And of course, like, we aren't doing any crazy rules of you need to work 1,000 hours a week. Of course, we're all going to be working very hard. We're going to be striving to do the best. But there is nothing that says specifically, hey, you need to work this many hours a week. It is, hey, we just need you to get this many assignments done. We would love it if you helped out more. And the way that I'm planning on doing this as I'm projecting influence is one of the things that we cannot do is we cannot pay the people who help out. it has to be volunteer based. Otherwise, we would literally be out $2 to $3 million, and we're working mainly with college students, and so can't really, like, we could theoretically, but it's not worth it. But with volunteers, how do we get people to volunteer and still have the same expectation of outcome? Well, could we give scholarships? That's something that we're looking on the table. But also, let's look at different things. Well, if they do this event, which it's really hard to not say what the event is, but it'll make sense when I do announce it. How do we build resume workshops so that way in this event, anyone who helps out is able to build an outstanding resume? And don't worry, I already have like 3 different templates of resumes that have worked previously, including Harvard's very own resume template and stuff like that, since I went to Harvard for a little bit to learn from their Ventures in Tech, the Ventures in Tech program, which unfortunately got shut down, but that's not the point of this video. And so the point of the influence and the point of the resume building is showing 2 things. One, it's that when you help out, you get a higher reward, and so you want to follow in line with our mission, with our vision, in order to get that higher reward. And then 2, because I am the one who is running these workshops, doing all these courses, teaching everyone all these things, it shows that I myself am putting in the work probably 2 to 3 times more than any of the other individuals within the program, which isn't a bad thing. It's just me setting the standard really high, and I expect people to not work as hard, but to push themselves because they see me pushing myself as hard as I am on this project. But that's a whole thing. But yeah, that's basically how I think of power and influence in this way. I guess the framework that I have of influence is that you yourself must be a capstone of which the values you wish to influence people with. And so in order to be an influencer in that way, regardless of social media or no social media presence or news presence or anything like that, you must follow your core values to the extent in which it is undeniable that people associate you with that core value, and then feel pressure because they are within your region to also follow in line with those values to an extent in which they have not done so before. And so if you can put someone in the position in which they feel like they need to follow your values to a greater extent than they normally would, then that means that you have influence over that person. And that's something that I'm thinking about when I'm setting up this event and getting everything ready. And it's a very fascinating thing, but I love doing this. And as I'm doing more and more frameworks for the teams and trying to teach them how to run an effective organization and how to be a part of an effective organization, this is the kind of stuff that I'm teaching them, and it's really fun. But if you guys can do me a favor, in the description, there's a form that shows that, hey, this is the event, we want your help, and that's the only place where I am allowed to talk about it at this point. But if you could fill out that quick 3-question multiple choice form, that'll help us out in order to get more investors and to be able to get the $500,000 that we need for this huge project, and to make sure everyone, the 50,000 people attending, will have a great time. So yeah, I'll catch y'all in a bit.